In the 28th century, NASA makes first contact with various aliens. This leads to intergalactic cooperation where unicomplexes from each planet are attached to each other. Over time, it becomes a multicultural city called Alpha, inhabited by a myriad of different species. To maintain order, the UHF, United Human Federation, a police group, is created. 4 centuries later, a reclusive, peaceful planet called Maul survives by fishing for pearls containing dense energy. They also use an animal known as the converter to replicate the energy. One day, debris in several vessels penetrate Maul's atmosphere and wipe out the bulk of its inhabitants. The tribal leaders and survivors take refuge inside one of the ships, but by locking the door and inadvertently breaking the lock, they abandon Princess Leho Mina outside, while the world burns. She releases her soul in a surge of energy before the explosion, trying to pass on their message. Major Valerian of the UHF, who had been napping on a holographic beach, is hit by the wave. He travels with his buddy Sergeant Laureline, his crush, who always rejects him due to his commitment issues. Valerian asks Alex, the AI on the spacecraft, to examine his brain, and she confirms that he has received cosmic waves, either in the past or in the present. The two go to Kyrian, where they get a message from the defense minister, asking them to save the last converter of its kind and bring it to Alpha for a top-secret operation. When they meet Major Gibson and his team, they learn that they will support them in their goal. They change into tourist attire after arriving. In order to complete the transfer, Valerian will infiltrate a virtual market and meet Laureline at a drop-off location. However, before they do so, Valerian asks Laureline to marry him, in order to demonstrate his lack of fear of commitment. He is ignored, but Laureline gives him a kiss on the cheek. The market exists in another realm and calls for specialized equipment. Inside, Valerian violates the rules and goes to a forbidden place to see Sergeant Cooper, who offers him a rifle, a cube to use it with, a pair of glasses to swap out for his helmet to access yet another dimension, as well as a rapid scan of his body to turn him invisible. Unnoticed, Valerian enters a store where Igon is attempting to trade the converter with aliens that resemble the race from his dream. Igon wants more, but when they refuse to pay, everyone pulls weapons, including Valerian, who then makes it clear that he is standing behind Igon. To mind control the guard in the watchtower, Laureline and the squad drive to the rear of the market's perimeter wall and shoot him with a rifle. They then breach the wall to allow Laureline to meet Valerian at the drop-off location. She opens up additional dimensions by turning on a box next to him. Laureline turns the converter off and transports it to the vehicle, once Igon has placed it in the box. When Valerian grabs the unique pearl and attempts to go, the guard dog notices his floating hand and charges. Everyone starts firing as a result. When Laureline spots the issue and tells the crew, Cooper is sent as backup, and is also attacked by the dog. Valerian exits the store using his invisibility, but because the box pad is damaged, he is unable to leave that dimension. When a guard spots him wandering around the marketplace, he fires magnetic spheres that add to the weight of the box and causes him to fall down a manhole. He falls into an arcade and spots a youngster holding a toy pistol. He receives one of the magnetic spheres from Valerian, which he fires at an alien in the area, prompting the other spheres to all follow the initial one. Although Valerian is now free, the child sobs, so the parents are pursuing him through the market when he encounters Laureline, who repairs the box just in time for the guards and the dog to come after them. However, their woes are far from done. Igon has discovered them and sent a beast far larger to pursue them. As the alien under their control blasts the beast to keep it away until everyone is back in their vehicle, the pair flees the market. The squad shoots fire in vain as the monster quickly catches up to them and hops on their van. Alex is asked by Valerian to fetch the spacecraft. He leaves with Laureline and leaps into their boat from the window. The beast jumps after them. The monster falls as the ship speeds up. Laureline places the converter in a treatment capsule, while Valerian asks Alex to examine the pearl, which reveals an incredible amount of power. The planet appears on the system's restricted access list during searching. He invites Laureline to join him on the deck, but she rejects it once more. They reach Alpha, and because of the converter they are carrying, they are given VIP entrance. When they meet with General Octobar, he informs them that a radioactive zone has been found in the station's center. Although they deployed drones and specialized warriors, nobody has come back. They must stop the pollution before it completely ruins the station, since it is spreading every day. Before his meeting with the Security Council, Commander Aaron Fillet arrives with his army of K-Tron droids, but a call from the defense minister forces him to accept Valerian and Laureline as bodyguards instead. Fillet comes over to check on a prisoner, an extraterrestrial from the planet Maul, who is being tortured for information. They haven't pulled anything out of him, so Fillet tells his men to execute him in an hour if he doesn't reveal anything. He also reminds his K-Trons of what to do if the procedure fails. Laureline brings the converter to the meeting because Fillet intends to use it as a bargaining chip, but she refuses to give it to him and instead keeps it safe. While Fillet informs the council of the contamination issue, Valerian enters the chamber with them, while Laureline waits outside, watching the door. 3 little aliens offer to help her, When she inquires about Planet Maul, they categorize it as a delicate issue on which Major Samk was an authority, but who mysteriously passed away 3 years ago. Additionally, they warn her that mercenaries would attempt to take the converter just before the alert sounds. The officers in the command room try to flee, but find there is no power, and they have been imprisoned, since the attackers are going through the walls, and neither the Council nor the AI can see them. The wall suddenly explodes, and a bunch of Maul aliens enter the chamber, blasting everyone with a sticky material that surrounds them in a cocoon as they attempt to free-fill it. Valerian places a capsule in his mouth, and the aliens depart with a cocoon fillet. When they are gone, a spider droid emerges from Valerian's capsule, cutting the cocoon open and allowing him to awaken and go. Then, while he pursues the aliens, he saves Laureline and gives her his knife so she may save the rest. Power is restored, so Laureline tracks Fillet and guides Valerian via communicator. The fastest route is through a wall, so Valerian rips through and sprints past environmental areas until Alex picks him up. The ship has been boarded by the aliens. When Valerian starts firing during the ensuing high-speed pursuit, the enemy spacecraft simply shatters into hundreds of smaller craft. Valerian uses the skyjet instead of following the vehicle they believe Fillet is in, since his ship is too large to keep up with it through the congested lanes. When he hooks the enemy and is pulled into the dead zone, Laureline is cut off from any communication with. General Barr opposes it and tells his troops to detain her when she tries to go rescue him. But before being carried away, she questions why the aliens from the devastated planet are attacking them and why, if they were hostile, they didn't hurt the Council. Someone is lying to them. Barr examines the database for Planet Maul after she has disappeared, and finds that not even he, as a general, has access to that level of confidential data. Laureline tells the guards to cuff her as they follow her out of the command room, but when they get near, she grabs them and beats them until they pass out. She then meets the Dogan Dagwis and commands them to transport her to precisely where Valerian is. The four of them travel together to visit Bob, who will take them fishing for a highly unusual jellyfish called a cortex. Laureline enters his submarine and travels far below the surface in pursuit of bromosaurs, enormous jellyfish mounts. Bob forces the jellyfish off a bromosaur by using the submarine's claws, which infuriates it. The submarine is quick enough to escape by choosing a small passage, while 3 bromosaurs pursue them. On shore, the Dogan Dagwis informs her that she must place the jellyfish on her head and allow it to show her what she desires, but she must not do it for more than a minute at a time, since the jellyfish will begin to feed on her memory. Following their directions and pushing herself to the limit, Laureline dives under the jellyfish for 1 minute and 10 seconds, till she can see where Valerian is. Level 630 East is confirmed by the Dogan Dagwis. The Dogan Dagwis visit General Barr to offer him the knowledge about the extraterrestrial hostage Fillet has kept secret after she departs to save her lover. After telling Barr that they are targeting them because the UHF took what they need, he instantly takes all the guys engaged in his question into custody and attempts to aid the Maul person. However, he causes his corpse to explode and send a message as the princess did. They discover that this species isn't there when his assistant runs the aliens' DNA through their database, which indicates that either they never existed or someone wiped them from their records. Laureline discovers Valerian asleep on the ground at level 630 East after cautiously navigating difficult terrain. She uses to rouse him. Valerian adjusts his vessel as she observes butterflies. Some butterflies serve as a lure. When she touches one, a tribe from the planet Gora, called the Boolin Bathers, fishes her out and takes her into their forbidden territory. Intentionally touching a butterfly causes Valerian to get caught as well, but as soon as he makes contact with Alex again, he shoots his captor and runs behind a wall. The AI informs him that locating a glamapod would be the only way to enter without provoking a diplomatic incident. Guards are instructed not to harm him. Instead, they should locate and aid him, so he grabs an invisible pistol and incapacitates an officer. He walks into Paradise Alley. There are a number of females on the street advertising their services, but Valerian walks to a club and asks the pimp for a glamapod, a type of extraterrestrial that can shapeshift into whatever they desire. Valerian is guided to Bubble, who dances while continually changing shapes. Valerian summons the pimp and strikes a deal with Bubble. If she finds Laureline, she will be given a legitimate pass and will be allowed to leave the club. Bubble agrees, hiding Valerian in her jelly body and transforming into the pimp. When they get to the location where Laureline is being held captive, Bubble changes into a Boolin Bather because Laureline is unable to speak with her captors as they offer her dresses. Laureline is dressed in a white gown with a hole in her cap and is assigned to a line of slaves delivering meals to the Emperor. Bubble and Valerian have infiltrated the premises. The Emperor dislikes all of the dishes, including Valerian's, so he exits the line and stands behind the guards to watch Laureline have her turn. Laureline's dish is a lemon, which the Emperor squeezes on top of her head before cracking open her skull with a special instrument. Valerian takes no time in hitting a guard with his tray in order to seize his weapons and battle the other aliens, including jumping on the Emperor to murder him. Now that she is free, Laureline obtains a sword and, along with Bubble and Valerian, fights the numerous guards. Valerian grabs Laureline's hand and pretends to charge, but they fall inside a manhole and into a new area with Bubble. General Barr returns to the command room and meets with the defense minister, requesting access to classified files, which he receives. The planet Maul's file states that it was destroyed by accident during a war and that it had never been inhabited. When Barr tries to figure out who was in charge of such a disastrous operation, he discovers that it is also classified. The K-Tron's constant presence irritates him because they only carry out Philip's orders. Valerian and Laureline are thrown into a massive garbage can, where they realize Bubble has been injured during the struggle. Her last words to Valerian are a request for him to look after Laureline before her body decomposes. The two begin to walk about. Valerian admits that the princess's spirit inside him has been leading him all along. They find themselves in the dead zone and learn that the contamination threat was an elaborate hoax to cover the tragic and cruel truth. Valerian believes Philip knows what is exactly beyond the wall they encounter, the Maul people, who have been waiting for them. They meet with the leaders and tell them what happened years ago. They floated in space for several years after the massive explosion, recovering anything they could find aboard the ship. To revive it, they learned all the sciences in its database. They were picked up one day by scrap traders, who finally sold their cargo to the Alpha Station, and have remained concealed here, while learning more information and building a new vessel that would allow them to rebuild their home on a new planet. They just lack a converter and a pearl, which is why they hired Igon to take them, so Philip wouldn't discover them. Valerian and Laureline ruined the plan. The aliens have faith that they will act morally and awaken Philip, who orders Valerian and Laureline to detain the Maul people on the grounds that they are lying, and that the planet wasn't populated when they were fighting nearby. They don't believe it, though. In fact, they already know what actually occurred. Philip was the soldier in charge that day, and he made the decision to launch the missiles without regard for the lives of those on the planet. He later erased all traces of what had happened. Because of this, when the Maul people appeared in the Alpha, he assassinated Major Sam and created the polluted zone. In the end, Philip concedes that it is real and clarifies that his motivation was to keep humans standing in power in Alpha. Valerian hits him before giving the aliens the pearl he was carrying. The converter is something more that Laureline wants to offer them, but Valerian protests, saying that it is government property, only to change his mind when Laureline explains that this is why she doesn't want to be married to him, since he doesn't understand love. She gives him a heartfelt kiss on the lips as a thank you for letting her do this. Before setting up a set of explosives, General Barr's soldiers and the K-Trons make sure there is no contamination on the opposite side of the glowing wall. The Maul leader feeds the pearl into the converter in the meanwhile, generating the energy necessary to turn on the new vessel they've created and produce a hologram of their previous world. The leaders use their magic to take the princess's spirit out of Valerian's body, because their purpose is now complete, and she may now rest in peace. A group of aliens crosses the wall and speaks to them in a kind manner, to assure them that they don't intend any harm, and don't want violence or war when they learn about the troops outside. When Valerian and Laureline tell him the real story of what has happened, Barr is persuaded it is true. However, in order to stop the process, he needs Philip's, the commanding officer's, approval. The two pull him inside and attempt to get him to talk. Shockingly, Philip asks the droids for annihilation and orders an all-out assault instead. Both the aliens at the wall and the humans in the command room are being attacked by the droids, when Barr commands Neza to halt the bomb's timer countdown. Neza creeps around and accesses a control panel, working and hacking directly with the console, until he stops it. Simultaneously, Laureline continues to fight Philip, and Valerian climbs over the wall to shoot the K-Trons. The Maul people are able to successfully depart Alpha aboard their new spaceship. With the explosion prevented and everyone safe, General Barr orders the few remaining soldiers to arrest Philip for his war crimes, after they discover him hanging from the ceiling in the hole the Maul left behind. Using the service ship the Maul came to Alpha in, Valerian and Laureline have also been able to flee and are drifting in space. Valerian begs Laureline to marry him once again while they wait to be rescued, and this time she replies, maybe, before kissing him on the lips.